The chaos among the House Republican caucus is reaching new heights, and the division that is causing is rather notable. We've been covering the effort by Marjorie Taylor Greene to oust Speaker of the House Mike Johnson because he's not MAGA enough. And now that he helped to get this foreign aid package through, it looks like this ouster attempt will materialize very soon because people are joining Marjorie Taylor Greene's effort. But that's less so the subject of this. It's connected to it. But the most notable part here is that Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez dropped a bomb during an interview on CNN about his colleague, Matt Gaetz, who is obviously a hardliner, a MAGA Republican, and to Tony Gonzalez exemplifies the worst of the Republican Party. And I tend to agree with him on that. And in this interview, said something you'll see about a House ethics investigation into Matt Gaetz, and we'll discuss that more after this. While you're watching this clip, please make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the like button and the alert bell.
That at this point, given that it is still possible that Marjorie Taylor Greene will push to kick him out of the speaker's chair, that he can survive.
He will survive. Look, the House is a rough and rowdy place, but Mike Johnson is going to be just fine. I served 20 years in the military. It's my absolute honor to be in Congress, but I served with some real scumbags. Look, Matt Gaetz, he paid minors to have sex with him at drug parties. Bob Good endorsed my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime. What didn't surprise me that some of these folks voted against aid to Israel, but I was encouraged to see by a nearly 10-to-1 mark that Republicans supported our allies on the battlefield.
Wow. Okay. I should say that the federal government did look into Matt Gaetz and those allegations, and they decided not to prosecute.
And it's an important caveat because we do respect one's presumption of innocence, even if they are the word Tony Gonzalez used, like Matt Gaetz is. But what is being referred to here? Is he pulling this out of nowhere, or is there some basis for what Tony Gonzalez just accused Matt Gaetz of? Well, and a reminder, this is the face of the modern Republican Party. You got your Matt Gaetz's, your Lauren Boeberts, your Bob Goods, your Marjorie Taylor Greenes, your Paul Gosars, and obviously Donald Trump representing this MAGA wing that's now in control of the party. And here's some reporting from the New Republic. Matt Gaetz isn't having a great week. It just got worse. The House Ethics Committee, which is investigating Gaetz for illegal drug use as a member of Congress, received a sworn statement alleging that Gaetz attended a 2017 party in Florida where cocaine and MDMA use occurred, ABC News reported Friday. The statement also alleges that the girl at the center of a Department of Justice investigation into Gaetz attended the party and was seen naked. Now, there are more details, but I won't dive any further into that with you all. But as you can see, that's what was being referred to by Tony Gonzalez. Again, the Justice Department was investigating this very topic, Matt Gaetz engaging in sexual activity with an underage girl at the time, and they decided not to bring charges. And so take that for what you will, but the House Ethics Committee has also been conducting an investigation and seems to be gathering some evidence that is definitely concerning. And this is something that we've heard Kevin McCarthy refer to rather often. His latest example is actually today on Fox News saying this about Matt Gaetz.
Because you were ousted because you tried to work with Democrats to keep the country from defaulting and to make what spending cuts you could.
No, that's what the press writes. That's not why I was.
Well, okay, so you're going to say it's all because of Matt Gaetz. What exactly did he do as far as a House ethics investigation?
Look, I don't want to get all this, but Matt came to me. Matt has an ethics complaint. And if you watch ABC News, apparently I'm not a liar, it's true, about he has a challenge with a minor and paying her money. It was asked, put into place an ethics more before I ever became speaker. He wanted me to stop the ethics challenge. I wouldn't. So he got some other people who didn't vote for me, 8 people, and partnered with all the Democrats to remove me.
Well, he calls you a liar. He denies having sex with a minor.
So does he deny what Mark Wayne says he said about? Does he deny the testimony that the Ethics Committee has been given about what was said?
Right. So what is he referring to with Mark Wayne Mullen. Well, let's dive over to that. Gaetz has denied using drugs to a member of Congress, but according to Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullen, he has bragged to coworkers about taking erectile dysfunction medicine, energy cocktails, to go all night. Is the quote from Markwayne Mullen. He also allegedly, while standing on the House floor, showed colleagues nude photos and videos of women he had slept with. The Florida Republican made headlines earlier this week after he and Wisconsin Representative Derek Van Orden traded insults amid House GOP chaos over foreign aid packages. Yeah, so then this is the first time that Kevin McCarthy has said such a thing about Matt Gaetz.
So was it this? You made a lot of concessions in the negotiations.
No, I didn't.
Okay, is that
Sorry, every time I hear that, I just can't get over it.
in the negotiations?
Oh, that bow, wow, wow.
I didn't.
Okay, is that
One more time.
concessions in the negotiations?
No, I didn't.
Okay, is that
Let's get to the bottom of that.
Right?
That is such a misnomer in life. Let me give you the truth about that now. And I'll give you the truth why I'm not speaker. It's because one person, a member of Congress, wanted me to stop an ethics complaint because he slept with a 17-year-old. An ethics complaint that started before I ever became speaker, and that's illegal, and I'm not going to get in the middle. Did he do it or not? I don't know. But ethics is looking at it. There's other people in jail because of it. And he wanted me to influence it. And you know what? So then they come out and they say, because I kept government open.
Okay, so what's the takeaway here? And then I have one more clip to play for you. Of course, again, we respect the presumption of innocence, and the Department of Justice, after investigating this, at least decided not to bring charges. So at the very least, not enough compelling evidence that they thought they could get a conviction out of was gathered. But there does seem to be some concerning bits of evidence or testimony, to say the least. But let's say even if this story weren't true, there have been so many stories about Matt Gaetz, the point that I'm about to make stands regardless, which is this is what the party of family values has to bring us. And we see this constantly. We've talked about with Lauren Boebert when she's getting kicked out of theaters and flipping off the staff and vaping when you're not supposed to in the theater and groping her partner at this event and getting too drunk at the Trump thing and security having to say, stop trying to take selfies with Trump. It's the same hypocrisy where they say that their superior values and morality is the justification for judging others and trying to implement policies that restrict the freedom of others and hating and dehumanizing groups of people. But then those family values never seem to apply to them. Trump is the leader of this movement, and do I even have to explain how he doesn't live up to quote unquote family values? But again, those supposed principles become the justification for policies that alienate people, restrict people's freedoms, and dehumanize people all too often. But then Trump, the civilly liable rapist, is the nominee. Or presumptive nominee of this movement. And then you have people like Matt Gaetz, who are prominent people within this party and beloved by much of the base, with these sorts of stories of him showing nude photos to people on the House floor of women that he slept with and talking about crushing up erectile dysfunction pills and putting them into Red Bull or something so he could, quote unquote, go all night, as Markwayne Mullen said. And then these allegations that the House Ethics Committee is investigating. And so they never live up to, it seems, their own principles that, again, are constantly cited as why their hate, their vitriol is acceptable towards other people. And so that's a big political takeaway. Okay, it's an interesting sort of salacious story, and whatever accountability needs to come of it based on the evidence should come of it. But the broader story here is the same one that we see anytime these sorts of Republicans are caught in hypocritical behavior. And that is that maybe they should do a little bit of introspection before they go around telling everybody else how to live. Now, in that New Republic article, you heard of Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden and his beef with Matt Gaetz. Here is something he had to say to CNN as well.
You called him Tubby, it sounds like. Actually, I said kick rocks, Tubby. Yeah. So the reason being, Matt Gaetz is a bully. Chip Roy's a bully. Bob Good's a bully. And the only way to stop a bully is to push back hard. The majority of the majority, the vast majority of the majority, is sick and tired of these high school antics.
The only thing I gleaned from it is that Mr. Van Orton is not a particularly intelligent individual.
Okay. So even though, again, Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert, last I checked, and I say Lauren Boebert because she's with Matt Gaetz in the shot, they aren't yet on board with the Marjorie Taylor Greene effort to oust Mike Johnson. That could change very soon. And if this were called to a vote, I could see them voting for it. And I do think that this will get called to a vote. I think Mike Johnson will be saved by Democrats, though. But we'll see how that plays out. But they still represent the chaotic MAGA hardliner part of the party, which is causing these sorts of divisions, causing them to beef with the likes of Van Orden. And I think that it's unfortunate that the moderate or the non-super MAGA people within Congress are just deciding to push back a little bit or politically fight back a little bit, because that's what we've been begging for a long time. And I want to make clear that even though we do make these distinctions between Republicans, because there are meaningful distinctions to be made, I stand by the fact that the way we're going to rid MAGA politically from our political conversation is to make them politically irrelevant. And the way you make the Republican Party sort of forced into doing that is by rejecting the entire GOP electorally, until this really dangerous, anti-democratic, chaotic, unserious about governance, conspiratorial, etc. movement is no longer politically relevant. So if you're someone who thinks, but I'm not as liberal maybe as Luke is, so maybe there are some Republicans I should vote for in the meanwhile. No. What we have to do when there's a movement this dangerous, like Trump leading this MAGA movement, and that has so little respect for our democratic process, you have to reject the entire institution of the Republican Party until MAGA is no longer controlling it. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments.